Welcome back to Alia Mashtas and Martin Despang's show Urban Transcendence and our sharing with you me, Martin Despang's research summer back in his home country of Germany. So we had started off in the east of Germany, we drove to the north, and what's missing is the southern part of Germany, which most people in the world consider to be the place we're right now, which is the south of Germany. I took a train ride, around a 6-7 hours train ride from Dresden to Munich, Germany, which is this area here. We're out here in the countryside around Munich, and what you can see, I'm in a cornfield here. Behind there's a street going by, like a highway, country road. And behind that, what you can see and hear is a local timber manufacturing plant. So our show here tries to find analogies or similarities between cultures, based upon that the Hawaiian culture has traditionally always been very, very interested and engaged in learning as much as they can from the other cultures they have been in touch with. So the project we're going to introduce to you today is part of a little mini-series of POE, post-occupancy evaluation of Despang Architekten's work. And I wanted to start it off here to give you an idea as close as I can with my limited technology of my laptop and the tripod that our German co-producer Lutz lent me, and the camera and microphone. I wish you could be here in real and experience this place here with all your senses. It's a beautiful summer day, about Hawaii temperature. You see the cornfield, you can smell the corn, and more importantly, you can almost smell the timber in the back. So this is what this area is about. We're close to the Alps, and there's lots of forest around. Something that Hawaii used to have before it got cut down, and a couple shows around the Wood Technology Institute here in Dresden, Germany. We're talking about some ideas to how potentially rejuvenate, reinvent that wood culture in Hawaii. So today we're going to show you how sort of the tradition of timber as the most local, the most abundant, and with that the most sustainable building material here could or maybe should evolve over time. So here the local building tradition is heavily based upon local resources. The ground stories are actually built out of masonry, so solid stone, stuccoed and plastered on the outside as rain protection. Whereas this top story is built out of the abundant building material of wood. And you can see in the back, you've got huge trunks here, heavy timber, which gets processed here. This is where the logs are being pulled to this manufacturing plant, and from there on, they're actually going to be brought to the further processing facilities who cut the logs into boards, and they go to the job site. So with that, we'll leave it with this impression. We're going to move on to a little clip I produced yesterday when I came here. My sister and her partner and my nephew took me to an evening event out in the countryside, which I think if I play this clip in a second here, gives you a very, very good unplugged idea about the authenticity of the culture here and how cultural and rituals and traditions are being carried on through generations. The show Urban Transcendence is also based upon a very high interest in values of society as in Ohana and in the Keiki. So the clip will show you how all the generations from the very old to the workforce, families and the children are still heavily engaged in the traditional rituals of celebration here on a Sunday evening in Bavaria, Germany. So how these previous influences of culture, of materiality, of Ohana, of the keiki informed this project here, we're going to talk about now, but we're going to do that inside of the building that you see in the back, which we call the B home. B stands for Bavaria, or the other working title is office home. What that means, the ideas behind, we're going to find out inside, because there's a pretty busy street here, as you can hear, so we can't really communicate here. So we're going to go inside and talk to the architect of the building and the user and the occupant, who's my dear sister and business partner Cynthia. So let's go inside. So welcome, Cynthia. Thanks for having us here as your guests in your office home. Very much appreciated.
Thank you.
And so, starting off to introduce you to the audience. So since this is Think Hawaii, and we're kind of broadcasting or investigating in subjects that might have some relevance for the islands, you actually have been there.
Yeah.
Last year.
Yeah, and there it was really nice.
Great. And I remember that one of the things that impressed you the most was actually Vicky Liljestrand.
Yeah.
And maybe you want to talk about that experience a little bit up there at the Liljestrand house.
Yeah. So I went to Hawaii to visit you, and like architects did, they want to look at all the other buildings the architects built in other places, and so you put us to the place, to the Liljestrand house, and it was a really nice place, nice overviewing the whole town to the sea, and you also see Pearl Harbor. It's all the place is great, and the architecture, it was really impressing. So all the building, but also the interior design. He did all the design in the kitchen with those integrated fireplace in metal Edelstahl, and it was really nice. My son, my 5-year-old son, was with us, and he played with the cat there, and it's outdoors, and also impressing is the nice house there, but it's also on the ground a little. It's called.
It's a shack, probably.
And it's but there's somebody who lives there in this cottage. She told me that this is really impressing. We are here in the climate in Germany, so that you can't go outside too often. It's raining, it's cold, and there the family lives only with a roof, and there aren't windows, there aren't anything. It's the bath, the bathtub. It's underneath the lounge. How do we call it? And people live there. They don't have facades. They don't need to have doors, windows. It's all open because the climate is really great there.
So maybe on that note, hi to Vicky and Bob. We're probably going to see the show because we sent them a link.
Okay.
So I already told them on behalf of you that you were most impressed by that little cottage and how you can live so simple but so fulfilling and in balance with the elements as you described. And they grow their own food. Vicky had just started the chicken scoop and they have all the fruits and vegetables and just wonderful. So. And the architect of that cottage was also officehome, and of course it was designed to be for a different purpose, not for dwelling, but they just converted it into, repurposed it as Ollie likes to say. So that's really great. So officehome, that gets us to that. Officehome was actually he's not Hawaiian. He was Russian and spent his youth in Japan. So that's sort of an analogy to you. You're not native to this part of Germany. You're actually native to the northern part, to Hanover, where we've been with the show. And they actually call us, people from Bavaria call us northern Germans the fish heads, the fish cook. So you both studied here and then started your business here with your business partner Isabel. So what got you excited about this culture here?
When I began studying, I didn't know Bavaria at all. I didn't know this place. But the School of Architecture in Munich, they said you can come to us. We give you a place to study here. So I said I will try. 1 year before I was in Italy, Milan, and this was the place between the north of Germany and Italy, so it was nice to me to go to Bavaria. So I'm nearby, the north, nearby Italy. The first impressions I get here, it was in the School of Architecture. I'm sitting beneath a girl who speaks Bavarian, but there's not one Bavarian speech. There are a few dialects, and this dialect was so impressive. I couldn't understand anything what she told. So I was sitting there, and I said yes. I didn't know what to answer.
That's another interesting analogy to Hawaii, because the Hawaiian language is not to be understood by anyone who isn't familiar with it. So they basically also know that Hawaiians called people not from there, the white people, when Captain Cook came, they called them the Hawaii, because they welcome each other by breathing their breath, and he didn't do that. So he was the Hawaii. So you were a Hawaii here.
Yeah, I am.
So how did you, yesterday as we shared with the audience, you took us to the nice Volksfest up here in the countryside, which gave the audience an impression how, and that's a place, just to mention to the audience, I was the only tourist there, so to speak, because there's no tourists. People go to the Oktoberfest and Tegernsee I learned recently, but this was really a place that's as authentic as you can be and kind of just kept its tradition. So how did you make your way here? So how did you find a way to become part of the culture?
So first I was in Munich, and Munich is a big city, and people they are from different countries, they speak all languages. It's not so Bavarian as we saw yesterday. This place is called Lässt. But then it was nearly 8 years ago we built a hospital for animals, and in a place it's called Oberhaching. It's in the south of Munich. So we saw this place. It's a really nice little village, and we did this deer clinic there. So all the time we go there, we felt this great open space. This village in Munich, it's a little bit stressy, and also our clients are not so used that they can't get parking places at our office. So we decided to have a look around here if we get a place to take our office to the village of Oberhaching. Then we found an old house on the 70th. It was also nice place, really open with a garden outside, so the dogs of my colleague can play there. And then we also lived here. We found our husbands, my colleague and I, and we are going to live in other places, also nearby Oberhaching, but smaller. The place where I live is Oedenpuller. There are 3 farmhouses, and nearly 50 persons live there, but that's all. And then you learn the tradition, the culture of the Bavarians. So in Munich it's difficult you can see that it's in the Oktoberfest, but it's not this. And when you go more to the south, you see these places like Jesberg, like yesterday, and it's really a nice culture. They're very traditional. They are really, they live this. They are not putting on their dirndl and lederhosen like a masquerade, but they are living so. It's really nice. And the persons, the Bavarians, they are, they're very
friendly and welcoming.
And they're very down to earth. They're settled here, and they are really a nice culture. So I also have difficulties to speak the language, the Bavarian, but I understand all from now.
Great.
So this is.
Well, I think we take a little technical break, and then we move on to another building. And by the way, we started off here because this is how you come into the building, and this is sort of the foyer. This is the welcoming, the entrance, and everything that you see in here is custom designed by you and your partner. So again, the officehome idea of built-in, which is a Japanese tradition. And so, we see more of that in a second. So we have nicely talked about sort of authenticity and fakeness of traditions. So the Oktoberfest is for showing off, and it's not really the real thing anymore. So that also, I think, is a challenge in Hawaii, as you've been there, where many people try to sort of Polynesianize buildings and come up with ornaments. They're superficial, because as you nicely explained, the Lillostrand house or the cottage, even more probably, is real Hawaiian style, because that's what they had. They only had a roof, as you greatly explained, so it's roof architecture. So everything that they do now, that they make wall architecture and then they decorate it, is kind of false. So there's an interesting similarity. You actually had a guest here, I think it was a year ago, Professor Barbara Videra, who wrote a paper about that subject matter and presented it at the PLIA conference, which was a Munich sustainability conference. So you both talked about, so maybe you talk a little bit about sort of this tradition and how society wants to preserve that tradition, and by meaning well, sometimes it doesn't go so well. So maybe how about that?
So we learn about this building tradition, not in Munich, but here in Oberhaching, the south of Munich, in this small village. The people are traditional and they want to preserve their tradition, their houses. They know these farmhouses, they are really great. And long time ago, there was one architect in Oberhaching. He had the idea to make some guidelines for how to build houses here. And they took these guidelines from Garmisch, it's, near the Alps, and then the Gemeinde, Oberhaching, they took this guideline and make it
the law.
The law, so it's called. And this is a real problem. There are houses, you have to build a house with a white facade. Only it has to be color white or wood, nothing else. You have to build a rooftop, it's a Satteldach, in Ziegel, in red tiles. And they are very strict, so we thought it's so nice here, we can do some architecture here, but we learn it's very difficult to make something nice. It's also the same. When you go in the village, you see all these stereotype houses. It's okay, but there aren't houses that you think it's a great architecture, or few houses with great architecture, because there are many developers who took this Satzung and they built houses like they want them to build them, but it's decoration.
That's a really interesting, that's what Barbara and you talked about, that you have the same in Hawaii, where all this new developments towards the west, which I actually have saved you from showing you because it's so devastating and depressing. But that's what they do. They basically build these kind of, you can say probably plantation style home, and then decorate them heavily to make them, sort of try to make them cultural. But there aren't, because the houses don't live that spirit anymore. And here, what's also great about these old farmhouses here, they're many centuries old. They're really built well, and they're built with stereotomic solid materials. So it's all stone on stone, thick walls, and above it's heavy timber, it's log timber. So we wish the audience would be here in real, because then they could experience this your space sort of with all the senses. And if I put my hand to this wall here, we're now in midsummer where it's rather warm outside. This wall here feels rather nice and cool. So that's I think what impressed me about your approach is that you think of tradition as being substantial and not surfacial, so to speak. So it's not what you see, it's what's underneath. And what's underneath then expresses itself sort of in a logic way. That's the logic and the principle of these old farmhouses. So, well, maybe we take another little technical break, move on to another location here in the building, and you explain a little bit more about what are all these thoughts, how they led you in the building design. So now you got us excited about that sort of substance matter, so tell us more.
So first, a few years ago, we searched a place also in Oberhaching. We wanted to build our office. And the old house where we were before, it was nice, but we wanted to build. So we are architects. So we found a place, and then we were thinking all the time, what can we do to make this Satzung, this law, a little, not to break it, but to make something really nice of this. And then in tradition of the old farmhouses, the idea was to build it like the old farmhouses with the materials. It's in the ground floor with concrete walls, and the upper floor, the roof in wood, in solid wood. And then we started in the keller, in the basement, with the concrete walls. There are two concrete sandwich, and they put the steel and the concrete inside. So it's we also left the walls in the basement like they are. So and in the ground floor we decided to use sandwich elements. The sandwich elements, there are concrete, steadily they will get out of the Bodenplatte or the slab, and they put the walls together with the decker. They built a statical system. So we are here in Germany. We need the isolation. So the sandwich elements is the concrete block, and then the isolation and the concrete facade. It's one element, and we ordered it, we planned all the electricity, the outlets inside. They are just putting it inside, and the LKW, the truck came here with this elements, and it was a really rainy day. So I saw these elements, and they were black this side. So I said, what's that? They're black walls, because we decided to make this. It's called Flügelgeklettert. They put a machine and they make it really.
Because that's actually the back side of the cast. So you don't get that flush that you have on the outside. So we decided to be authentic again and show the back side, and and use these actually as ornaments, as actual ornaments. So this is actually part of that rainy day.
This is not. It's another rainy day.
Okay.
They put these walls, and then they are going on to build the decker,
the ceiling,
and it's also filigran decker with the concrete. 5 centimeter concrete, then you put the steel in, and then you put all the electricity or the stuff inside. But in these days, it's always raining, so all the rust from the steel is going down, and I was so shocked that it's so. But now the people came here and they said, "Oh, what nice wall you have! How the painter did it. It's really great." So sometimes you have to leave it like that.
Yeah.
It's okay. Don't think about it too much.
Yeah, and it also gets softened by the wood floors, so the warmth of the wood floor is kind of softening the toughness, the roughness of the concrete walls, and vice versa. So, all right, with that, I think we're going to leave this floor, and we're going to walk our way up to the top floor, which he already gave us a little glimpse of how that might look. So we're excited to see. So we're obviously on our way up. Tell us more about the space here.
Yeah. So you see the sandwich concrete element on this side, and this wall behind me, it is the wall that the
structural engineer,
he said, you have so many sandwich elements. I have to have one really concrete wall inside, so the system works. And I said, no, I want to do all this with prefabricated elements. So we decided to make it a little bit different, like you did it also in the at tunnels, the street work. You don't have Scheithafen with the concrete. You have
wood form.
Wood, and see here, it's wood from this Schadung, it's called, and we people like this. It's a really nice contrast. And so this stair is also concrete, Fertigteil, prefabricated, and you see the bolts above, and they put it here with a crane inside, and it's like this. It don't have something
some finishing. It's just the raw thing.
And then you see above, this is the wood side, the wood place, and it's solid wood. You see it in the window there. It's 10 centimeters thick wood, also prefabricated. Also we have to put the electricity stuff inside there before, or the holes from them, and the walls and the roof. It's one system with all these.
Cool.
This wood.
So let's go upstairs and check it out even closer.
Yeah. Okay.
So behind us is the stair we just came up, and in any of the shows, I always wish there would be technology where you can communicate smell, because maybe you want to explain talk about what the smell here.
The building is 1.5 years old, and you smell the wood. It's really nice. Working place. It's like in an old farmhouse. With the optic of the wood, you see the wood and you smell it. And it's here we are in the room. It's over there we're working. We have our working places, my colleague and I, and this is a place between the working and our children. We have another room over there for them. Now they're in the school and in the kindergarten, and in the afternoon they will come here. So we're working and they are playing. So it's a really nice communication place.
For the audience, we should probably specify that Americans call this technology cross-laminated timber, because you're kind of making one layer of wood boards one way, then you go the other 90 degrees shifted and so on. So it's like thick plywood. So it's sort of the evolution of tradition. The old farmhouses that we showed at the beginning of the show in what's the town called again? Dining. So they were actually logs. So they were horizontal, square cut logs. But today, due to energy efficiency and the airtightness is a really high requirement, and you can't really get that done that much anymore. So this is sort of done with today's technology, but sort of creating the same effect and thermal comfort. So that's an interesting part of it.
So the difficulty was to let it like it is in wood, and not to decorate it with cover it with some Gipskarton or to paint it over, because you have the installation for the electricity, and so we had to think before to put all the holes in the walls, so the electricity can go afterwards inside, and for the walls that are outside, we left it like that, and outside we put the isolation. So it's
So the wall is, again, there's a structural CLT, which is approximately 10 centimeters, which is about like 3.5, probably 4, between 3 and 4 inches. Then you add insulation, and then there's an interesting thing when the audience looks at the facade. There's actually nowadays it's not the wood cladding that is the rain screen. It's actually a paper, a wind paper. So also a vapor barrier. And so maybe talk about that a little bit, how you solve that here.
You have to put the wind paper. You can't leave it open like at the little flat house at the cottage or that. You have to do something against the rain, against the cold snow, cold outside. And you have this wind paper. It's normally a black paper, and you have to put it over the isolation. It couldn't be, it has to be befestigt. You have to put it in some way on the facade, and normally you will have under construction in wood, and you put the wood on this. And so we wanted to show this wind paper. Why not? It's black. It's a good thing. It's not, but you have to what is called tie back in some way. So we did the under construction of the wood, and then we put the wood, but it's not covered at all. It's we have different kinds of Abstände, spaces between. So we also we always designed it. We have made the design on the computer. We want to have small spaces and bigger spaces. So you said one time it's like a jalousie. That you can look outside where you want to. You have your eyes on where you're sitting in this.
And that's what the audience can actually see here. So when I started, the first shots were from outside, and there's a pretty heavy road there, a heavy street, so you wanted to protect yourself from that, but still let daylight come into the space, and it's still a pretty nicely gated space here. Do you want to talk about the material of the wood, the external wood?
Yeah, this is
Thermally modified
wood, The wood is called poplar.
Poplar.
You normally use it for the banana
Yeah, that's another relationship to Hawaii, probably where the plantation people put the bananas into boxes and ship them all over around the world.
And normally it's this poplar, it's a wood, it's with the weight is
very soft.
It's not a heavy wood, it's you can put one of this wood, normally you have the weight of the wood, but it's light.
Very light, very light wood. But through the thermally modifying process that a couple shows ago, we went to the Institute of Wood Technology and Matthias Ebert, and so the audience can go back and revisit that. So this is here is an application of that research that you basically use. So it follows the same philosophy that the building is. It lives. It's basically show what you have and don't, as you call it, make up, don't masquerade the building. Just show it. And some people at the beginning, you told me, they came and said, when will you finish the building? It's not done. We still see the vapor area. And you always went out and explained, and once they understood, they accepted. And now, as you told me, there's a very high appreciation in the neighborhood of your building.
And we often have people here photographing our building and coming to us. They're asking if they also can get this. They accept it.
Great.
And also the Gebäude, they also accept it.
So that's interesting. So obviously you educated them. They came from this kind of sentimental, nostalgic way of heritage preservation, as you can call, and you kind of taught them that you need to innovate that tradition to actually, this is like what evolution does, right? Certain birds, they change things to adapt, and things have changed. We live in an industrialized society. The cost of labor is intense, and we should also mention that you were building this on a pretty tight budget, so this is not a luxury. This is actually the cost per square footage is actually not different to the conventional home, and that is because of prefabrication and abstaining from interior finishes, which all cost money. So it's a clever way of building that's very much in the tradition of the ancestors, and they would probably be proud and say, well, this is how we build, but you do it today, and because you live today and you don't live in the past. All right, so let's show some more of the beautiful spaces here. So we've now turned around and look at what you have just explained, so maybe just some more words about what you see.
So this is a communication place with a kitchen above the first floor. We will use it for us and our children. And you see this window there, and beneath this is the children's place. So we can have a look to them.
And they at you.
And when we close the doors, then we can all see them. This is the communication place.
Great. Then I guess we want to see the kids' office. So this is bringing back childhood memories when we were little, and I was teasing you. So explain us who's teasing whom in here now.
The children's room. It's always like this. It's a little bit of a mess here, but we closed this room and we didn't see it anymore. And our children, it's my 5-year-old son Julian, and the 2 children from my colleague Teresa and Lawrence, and they are playing here and they're doing the work from the school, and
And this is where we just came from. This is the view, the panoramic view to,
this is
to the shared space.
kitchen.
And then you can have your office doors open, and then you can look all the way through and stay connected for supervision and being interested in each other's work. And I think this is a really, for me, that has always been one of the most innovative parts of the building. That really, you both, want to be professionals, you want to be architects, but you also want to be mothers. And in the old days, that was easier than today, because the whole system of society and women were also discriminated in a certain way. Actually, they couldn't work that much, so you kind of claim that. And architecture and space planning and placemaking kind of helps you to facilitate emancipation, if you want to call it like that. So that's
it was really difficult to get the Baugenehmigung,
the permit
to build this building here, because they said it's not a building where you live in, and but it's not only an office, and they can do it in their system. It isn't. It's like it is, and we can't change it.
So just like we talked about the way the building is built, so tectonics is the same with the social mission of the building, that you educate the community in saying, well, you have to change your system, because this is where society is going, or you think it should go, that women shouldn't be discriminated in not being able to work or not having children. You want both, and you say it's possible, and architecture as sort of one way can basically help to improve that situation. So I think that's one of the most innovative, which also Barbara saw and what she was talking about on that conference. All right, so last but not at all least, let's go to your workplace. All right. So now we moved on to your and Isabel's workplace. So
this is my workplace, and I work here. When I don't want to work, I can have a look outside to the surroundings, and just really, here we have to view the gardens of the neighbors, but there we're overlooking the free field, space here, and this is a nice place.
And now, it isn't always sunny in Bavaria, so today is an overcast day, so you can also see that the artificial light is nicely enhancing the wood effect, so to speak. And maybe some explanation towards orientation here, maybe, and solar gain, if you want to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, we have the orientation, and this side is house, and the covering of the windows, it's also to not for that the people can't look inside, but it's also for the sun to let the sun out.
And you also have some additional shading here, which we can demonstrate. So what I especially like about it is manual. So there's very little that can break. So
it's for the summer, it's this side, it's a silver plated thing, so the sun is reflecting.
All right. So thank you. I think we have one last shot maybe, because there's another inhabitant here in the building. We'll be shooting one scene with the next person over there.
Okay.
So what we're looking at now?
Yeah, this is Paula, the dog of my colleague, and this is the view to the field, as said before.
All right.
The frame view.
Great. So we're getting close to the end of the show, so let's say goodbye outside. See you in a bit.